You tearing up everything. I've been tearing up. You told how the spider can.
That's not us, but it is something about us, Wayne County and it's.
No, I mean, real good stuff.
They always got a hood, so they finally got them down.
I wonder if they get in the one, two
I
doors.
think they only tearing 2 guys up on the
I seen 3 different big holes.
Oh, that's the right thing.
But I
Wait,
think,
I'm gonna say, Like next to you.
well, I.
I had to put it in 30. I told them that I was
Because that's what they're doing. But they're doing more cut.
So how long you been?
Good evening, everyone. How you guys doing?
Yeah, how are you?
You guys go shape. Good. How you doing? Good.
I said, I didn't tell you Sunday to send 3 cars to my house.
Say cars.
Somebody was born, right, car, and they got out.
It's 1999.
They got out there.
Sweet, man.
And you still be here.
Right, had to win the bike race.
Oh, yeah. Video tape, so they can hear how loud it was. And they go say, oh, we can just have that. Yeah, well, over my way, they shut down. I didn't have to say anything. They shut down. They go outside about 2 o'clock. That's all I was ready to church. They don't take 2 hours and paper on my own.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't say they need to see it several. They turned it out, they turned it up. I turned my battery light on, so I made it know. We're both of you. They find me cut off the trash they left in the. Like somebody just took garbage can. So we don't want to go there and you go out there and pick it up, because it's the blowing and it makes us feel bad. We had just got our grass and, you know, it's bleeding on the block. This probably some of those that don't even live. All the time, we can see them throwing it out the window and liquor bottles, oh, a little bit, we have them to the fair.
Got to clean up my lines. I see liquor bottles, I ain't never seen it before. I see liquor, I ain't even heard of it.
I go out there, last week, I'm not cleaning up, I don't even eat this food, then what is this? One of the other things, they used to walk the street every morning, they look one on one side. Well, that's the way they used to do when I was at the team with it. Yeah, my neighbor, I'm picking out there, I pick it up, it's just. Okay, I was going, I was just on property. Oh, they come. I mean, they speak around on the fourth side down there. So, hold on, you think I was doing no porch? On the front porch. I said, well, it's on the side. I said, well, you know what? That's why.
I put first Vanguard. Picking up hot.
He be all that other stuff.
So Fergie dropped the ball.
I'm like, no, it's actually good. I was looking at the can.
Not on this street.
Is it
I
great?
thought it was diet. No, bitches.
Oh,
That's great. Always. Come out and do their job.
Another thing, say you on the whole thing. Oh, they just had your name?
They just have my name up there again, yeah. I wasn't even on it. All right, everyone, it's after 6, so we'll get started.
Right.
Thanks for coming. As usual, I appreciate it. You guys all get some snacks or something if you want something. I didn't plan on talking about this, but because it got brought up, we're talking about events, special events that are happening in the city, apartments, and we've been fielding a lot of calls, really a lot of complaints about things that are getting out of control in terms of loud music after hours, you know, several people, road blockages, debris, trash from parties and things like that. So it is something that, you know, the police department is responsible for in terms of addressing complaints like that. So if you guys are, you know, if you see something like that, or you guys are experiencing something after hours, just let us know and we will respond. Typically, how that goes is we give them an opportunity to comply. And if for some reason we get called back there, then we issue tickets to either the homeowner or whoever's hosting the event. So, you know, let anybody know if they've got concerns or complaints to, you know, contact us about them. On a different note, we still have this burglar who's on. Okay. We're partnering with Detroit. We've got a lot of intel. I don't say a lot. We've got intel that I think is ultimately leading us to whom we think it is. But we're not there yet. Okay. So you guys, I want you to be cautious. If you see someone in the alley, if you see someone who matches the description that we put out last time, you know, you see someone bundled up in winter clothes when it's 80 degrees out. You know, not to say that some people don't do that, because some people do,
Right.
but, you know, let us know so we can at least make contact with that individual and make sure that, you know, they're not trying to break into one of your houses.
Are they still breaking in?
They are.
He's still breaking?
Yeah, so they're actually, they've also broke into numerous homes in the city of Detroit, like Boston Medicine District. And I think the latest estimate, they said they've taken like $150,000 in jewelry and 70-something thousand dollars in cash. So this is not a small time operation. This is a crew of people and someone with experience. And more importantly for you and us is this is someone who's very bold. They're doing this during the day.
Yeah.
They're really not afraid. So that concerns me because people like that are dangerous. Okay. So I don't want you guys to confront anyone like that. I just want you to contact us. If you see something so we can confront them. And, you know, because I don't know how this person's going to react. It could just be someone who, you know, who breaks into houses, but it could be someone with a gun too. And, you know, no material items are worth it. It's like, so, yes, ma'am.
He broke into my house. So if you guys catch this guy, do you notify the people that he's broken into the house?
Yeah, of course. So we, you know, it'd be the same for Detroit residents as well, that, you know, Detroit will reply that. We have someone in custody. We may or may not recover items, things like that. So we'd ask people to identify their items that may have been taken. And ultimately, yeah, you would be a victim of a crime. So you would have an opportunity to make a victim's impact statement and possibly receive restitution or, you know, whatever happens in terms of his prosecution, his or her prosecution. You have your hand up in the back?
I did.
Yes, ma'am.
And would you mind repeating the physical description?
Yeah, so, I don't have a picture of it yet, but basically, the individual has not changed the description too much. He's went from like gray pants, he wears like a winter coat, like a winter dark blue or black winter coat. He usually wears a face mask and some kind of hoodie over his head that's pulled down, light. And when he first started, he was wearing black tennis shoes, but lately he's been wearing white tennis shoes.
That wouldn't have stopped.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if, you know, because we're giving out this description and everyone's showing pictures, if he's trying to switch it up a little bit. But to be honest with you, he really hasn't switched it up much, which leads me to believe that he just doesn't care. And like I said, people like that are dangerous. Because, you know, they're prepared to get caught and they're prepared to usually try to get away. And that's something we have to be cautious of. So we can't take a chance of anyone getting hurt. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the last picture I seen of him, he still had that Adidas book bag too. So.
Well, yeah, that's a huge thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. He's been pretty consistent with his bag, that he loads up. And, you know, he's very smart. They don't take electronics. They don't take a lot of things that are traceable. Because they know that's how they're gonna be caught. You know, so that lead to that they're knowledgeable, they're experienced in what they're doing, it's just not just some, you know, drug addict or something that's breaking in to sell things. This is more of a sophisticated operation. So again, we gotta be mindful of what we see in our backyards and what we see in our alley. And, you know, most of you know who belongs and who doesn't belong. So if you see something that, you know, that you guys think are, you know, just doesn't belong, you know, you're not bothering us. We're here, regardless. So, you know, we're gonna we'll go by there and check it out. You know, a lot of times it's nothing, but it could be something. So, you know, you guys are our biggest asset. The community is our biggest asset. That's one thing I'm consistently preaching is that we can't do it by ourselves. You know, I don't care what agencies out there. I don't care agencies in the suburbs where they've got plenty of manpower and other things. You can't do it by yourself. Without the citizens, you're just simply not successful. You know, could you have some good boss? Could you make a difference? Yeah, but the ultimate success is the relationship with the people. So we really need you guys to, you know, keep your eyes and ears open and reach out to us if you see something. So with that, anyone else have any questions about this guy? Okay. Also, we believe he's utilizing a vehicle. And that, you know, so if you guys see vehicles just pulling up in the alleys and unmanned or manned, you know, call us about that too. Just, you know, hey, there's a suspicious vehicle in the alley. You know, it just got here, or it's been here, or whatever the case may be. And, you know, we can come by and identify the vehicle and, you know, go from there.
He isn't just doing alleys though, because I live on Davison Service Drive. And he broke into my backyard.
Yeah,
So
so,
he was on Service Drive. Coming into my backyard, he broke my lock on my gate. And then came in my back door.
yeah, so typically the majority of the homes that he's broken into, he's entered through the back.
Yeah.
He usually hops the fence. Or in your case, you know, like
The Service Drive.
breaks the lock. You know, he's going to an area where it's least conspicuous. And, but the one thing that's been pretty consistent is, you know, fortunately, people have not been home, which leads me to believe he does his homework too. On, you know, what houses he goes to. And like I said, that's a good thing and a bad thing, but, you know, in terms of everyone's safety, it's a good thing. I'd rather have them not be there. So, for those of you who have Ring cameras or any other brand of cameras, and, you know, a lot of those cameras, you could put alerts on those cameras to then alert to your phone. And the one thing we found is a lot of people have had these cameras, but they didn't have their alerts activated. Okay, and I'm not saying you gotta activate the front door one where cars are driving by and you're getting alert every 2 minutes. But if you do have cameras in the back, or you have cameras that are kind of off the trail that no one should really be coming in contact with, set the alerts on those cameras. That way it hits your phone right away. And you know, if someone's back there, the likelihood of us catching them is pretty good because we have a pretty decent response time. So, yes, ma'am.
Meaning the camera, what about the bell ringer? Put the alert, have an alert on that,
On what?
on the
Ring cam?
ring.
Yeah, of course. Ring camera, Ring, like I said, is a big one. You know, they have the motion sensor lights. You could put activations on those that'll activate your cell phones and some other things. And, you know, we've got some tech savvy guys here. So if it's something you need help with to, you know, if you have that type of stuff, just come by and we'll help you set your activations up. So if someone does, you know, hit those cameras, you can at least get notification of it. And, you know, it just, the faster we find out, the faster we get there. Hopefully we catch it in the act and put an end to this madness. So for all you guys, just keep your eyes open for us. We got a couple positive things going on. And we've got our National Night Out coming up. We've got some promotional gear that we're trying to do, just kind of get the community involved and also, kind of a fundraiser for our events. For those of you who don't know, we don't really have a line item budget for any of these community events that we put on. So any monies that we get are typically donated by businesses and residents and things like that. So that's how we're able to put these on. So we have our community engagement directors out there. They're hustling, trying to get funds so we can have these events. We've been pretty fortunate to have some pretty good events here. I haven't seen all your faces, but I expect to see them next time, hopefully. But they're working hard to make this happen. But I'm gonna call up community engagement officer Earl and let him talk about some of the things that we've got going on. He's one of our guys who's been out here working hard trying to collect money and put on some of these events. And the way I look at it is it's just an opportunity for the community to have a little bit of contact with the police that's fun. Not, that way it's not always at your lowest point that you have contact with the police. Maybe, if we had share a burger or some chips or something and hanging out, talking, it just brings us together, lets everyone know that, we're all humans, we're all doing the same thing, trying to survive and live life, and trying to have a little fun at the same time. So, it's just something good. We're really gonna come up and talk about our event that we got.
After 6. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How's everybody? So I'm Everett Monroe. I'm usually referred to as Monroe, or that guy that's over on the other side that zips back and forth across the office. But so August 6th from 5:30 to 8:30, we're doing National Night Out. For those of you who are not aware, National Night Out is a national event that's put on by municipalities. It's actually becoming an international event where police departments, public safety departments reach out to the community and have positive engagement, having nothing to do with day-to-day things, just having good fun. Some of these events get really elaborate. There's actually a contest across the nation as to who has the biggest event. And I mean, I've seen like carnivals and all kinds of things that, people put on. But on August 6th, 5:30, 8:30, after you guys vote, sure we get out and vote. We'll be right next door to City Hall in the Massachusetts Park. We're going to have a live band. We'll also have house DJ or house heads. Any house heads in here? No, nobody? Oh, so not Al, Bruce Bailey will be here. Al was going to come, but he has an event that's out of state. He didn't want to risk, his flight getting canceled. So Bruce Bailey will be here, who's a phenomenal DJ. We're going to have some resources from Detroit Way Integrated Health Network. They'll be talking about knowing the signs, suicide signs, and different signs of mental health and mental stability. State of Michigan will be here with some of their resources. So health and wellness is going to be the focus of this event. So good fellowship and health and wellness. So we'll have quite a few vendors that will be, well, not vendors, but resources that will be on site to help with that. Yeah, I think it'll be a great event, but we do need some participation. We found that a lot of the Detroit Way and state of Michigan, a lot of those resources are there, but the red flag is that we don't show up, that we don't come. So just come out, prove them wrong, be out, get those resources for not just for you, for anybody that's in your family, those people that that may need that. I'll share a story. So my family, we own another business, and one of our secretaries went 30 years thinking that she had congestive heart. And she went to a fair that had a mobile health screening program and determined that it wasn't heart failure, it was actually brain failure. So she was misdiagnosed, and for 30 years, and by God's grace, she stayed alive for that long. Not having what she actually needed, but for 30 years, she went thinking that she had heart failure. And in all actuality, renal failure. So it's really important to stay on top of those things. We sometimes feel fine, but there's things that we need to get checked out. So they'll be there for that reason. We also have on September 14th, so I'll make sure everybody's had this. September 14th, 2024, the Highland Park Public Safety, so that's police and fire. We have a team for the Race for the Cure. We want you to join in and walk with us. We're not going to be running, but we want you to come in and join with us. And even if you're not really comfortable walking, we just want you to be there, representing the city. You don't need to be a part of public safety, just, be a part of Highland Park. So we want you to do that. There's a QR code where you can scan and register. And our team is HPPDPS. So it's really easy to get registered. We'd love to see you there. People, your relatives who may be outside of the city of Highland Park, if they're willing to join us, we'll be glad to have you. The last thing, I don't like taking up a whole lot of time. The mayor said that, started talking the whole bunch. So the last thing is, so we have been talking about mental health, being on top of that. So projected, we're going to have a mental health first aid event, which will be the following Saturday, which is the 21st, I think. But we'll put that out as well. And what that is an event. It's going to be sponsored by us in Detroit Integrated Health. They're going to come in and show you the signs that follows mental instability and suicide awareness, even for children, knowing what those things are and how to get help to life. All right. Did I miss anything? No. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, so like I said, these events are, they're pretty exciting for us because it's a different connection. It's not us writing tickets, it's not us arresting people or intervening in things. It's an opportunity to, interact with people and have a good time. So, one of the most disappointing things about these events that I've noticed is a lot of time, a lot of hard work and effort goes into it. A lot of resources, and then we just don't get a lot of participation. And some people say, hey, we didn't know about it. Some people, I don't know if it's just they don't want to mingle with the police or what, but for you guys, you guys are actively involved. Obviously, the block clubs here are all here. So, if you can get that message out, we're not looking to run background checks on anyone or warrant checks or anything. We're looking to have a good time. So if you're coming for a good time, you're welcome. If you're coming to bring trouble, then you're not welcome. Simple as that. So let people know. If those of you have contacts with community centers or in the neighborhoods where people aren't real active on social media, or they don't get the weekly notifications and things like that. Just let people know. Even the young people. Wow, it feels weird saying I'm getting old. I just had a birthday. I'm getting old. But yeah, even the younger people. We want more of them coming out and having fun. That way they know that you can have fun together. So yes, ma'am.
Where do you find this information? The only reason I'm here is that this happened to pop up on one of my feeds, and I didn't even know this, this was a thing. And then when I walked in, clearly, there's people here that show up for the meetings. So is there some place to go, a calendar or someplace to go to see?
Yeah, of course. So one, you can go to our city website, the Highland Park City website. A lot of that's posted. The police department has a website as well. But one of the biggest things is they send like a calendar through, that you can have directly texted to you. So if you give us your number, we can make sure that you get included on the list, your name and information. And that goes for anyone in here who may not get that. It's actually good though, because, there's other notifications in there, like programs like Thaw and things like that. That help, with, financial resources and other, health resources and things like that. So they'll send those out to you. And, so yeah, it's important. Just let us know. We'll get you on the list. Yes.
Also,
Oh.
anyway,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you go up to City Hall anytime on the calendar, as you walk in, calendars are there. Come to the city council meeting at the first of the month, there's a whole packet that I put out myself. Right at the meetings, everybody pick them up. The calendars are downstairs, it's posted on the city, on the doors. So it's a monthly calendar with every event that, we sponsor. If it's other events that I don't know about sometimes, and on our website, we have a community page. So people send in stuff that they might have, that they place on the community page, so people have it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was gonna ask, is there any way, I'm not sure we have the resources for this or the manpower, that like the stores in Highland Park, if they can post them in their windows with different events? I mean, not without having like a collage of things, but like something like that, people frequent the Little Caesars, the Glory, the gas stations, if they can be posted in those,
Yeah, I mean, as long as they allow us to do it, that's not a problem. We can pick some active spots. Put it out there. I know, grocery store, things like that.
Take a shape, that she had the board.
Okay. Yeah.
Some rice cleaner store.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They, they mentioned about cameras that are on Oakland or wherever.
So those cameras really have nothing to do with the police department. It's more of a, it's part of their construction and all of that. So it's like a monitoring system for them. It's not anything associated with the police department. Now, we do have cameras throughout the city, some cameras and flock cameras for license plate readers, and some mobile cameras that we're deploying for dumping. Which is another huge problem. If you see someone dumping, please call us right away, because there's serious consequences for that, as there should be, because it's very costly to you guys. Because all of our DPW resources have to go out, scoop all that stuff up, pay for dumpsters, dump all that stuff. It really gets very costly. So again, if you see dumping, just call us. You don't have to get involved. Just say, hey, someone's out here dumping. That's how we get probably 85% of our dumpers is from residents that are just fed up with dumping. And they say, hey, this guy's out here, he's got a trailer or a truck. And he's dumping it out.
At night.
Well, you'd be surprised how old people are. People pull up in box trucks in broad daylight and empty a box truck out in 2 minutes. Yeah.
They do it any time of day. I thought somebody watched, this was a long time ago, and I was not working for the city, but I was just walking down the street on Cortland. I was working at Wayne Metro, going to lunch, walking down up to Woodward. This guy was coming out of Ferris, and he just stealing pipes out the old Ferris school in broad daylight. It's 12 o'clock.
Yes.
Cheating on me. I was like, hey, what you doing? Excuse me. Oh, this and that. I said, I'm about to call the police on you. He was like, no, let me put him back. I'm gonna put him back, But
Yeah,
broad daylight,
by then it's too late. Once the pipes are cut.
once you took him out, you can't put him back. So yeah, I'm calling.
That's the sad thing, people get $100 worth of scrap and costs $50,000 worth of damage. To these structures, so that is sad. And it's crazy, because if we had a time lapse camera on some of these buildings over the course of a month, you literally can watch the deconstruction of a building. It's amazing, it's sad, but it's amazing. Just like emptying a dump truck or a box truck. These guys are amazing. I mean, they're like superheroes. They empty a truck in 3 minutes of trash. So, as soon as you see them, call us right away, because they're quick. They don't want to be hanging out long. Before I turn over to the block club, I kind of want to take a couple minutes to give you guys opportunity to ask any questions that you might have, or express any concerns or anything that you think we need to do better, or, something that we're doing decent. So anyone's got anything?
Just catch the guys breaking.
Well, I promise you, we're working. We are working on it.
I know.
He's a slippery guy so far, but just like all slippery guys, they get caught eventually.
Yeah, eventually going.
I know we did the Narcon training, then we did another training, we had come up with the first day training yet. Or CPR training.
Well, I mean, these are things that we're working on, you know, so if you guys have suggestions, something you wanna see, we certainly have some resources. That we can bring in, so, you know. CPR.
So CPR really fall under the fire.
Okay,
Yeah, but I can talk to the community engagement person for fire.
thank you.
It did one before, the problem we had is that a lot of people didn't show up. And so, you know, it costs whatever. But,
Yeah,
they can do it themselves, they have, EMTs over there, people who are certified in EMT. That can show, you know, but I don't know if they have the dummies and everything that they need over there. I would have to talk to the chief and I'll keep out.
Well, the guy who runs our ambulance service, he reached out, and he said that they're, you know, they're willing to put on something like that. The community wants it, but it's one of those things, I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into that, these guys are taking the time and volunteering. So I would like, you know, maybe people sign up in advance if that's something you guys want to see. And, you know, we don't have a problem doing it, the more people in our training, the better. You know, you never know when you're gonna need to help someone. Could be your own family member, it could be, you know, a perfect stranger. And you know, you could save someone's life, so those are great things that we don't have a problem putting on. And they did offer the board, so I don't think that's a problem, but we probably just sign up in advance, because it'd be very disappointing if only like 2 people showed up. And not to say that hasn't happened. Thank the 2 people who showed up. But,
It's very common.
yeah, anyone else?
Yeah.
Yes,
Are you familiar with the code 22, the 22nd of each month?
I am, so we actually had her here, she spoke about it with the community.
Okay.
I wear my white shirt, I have my wristbands, so it is something that we supported. And we actually went to the schools as well with them and supported that as well. It's a movement I'm kind of hoping that takes off a little more than it has. But it seems like it's gaining speed. And basically, for those of you who don't know, Code 22, it's the principle is on the 22nd of every month. You know, in solidarity, we wear white. They have some wristbands, and it's really a day of no violence. And the thing behind that is, the idea is that you hope it grows. That it's just not the 22nd that, you know, people are like, well, let's not, you know, we didn't do it on the 22nd, let's not have violence anything. And then it expands. So, you know, some people say, hey, it doesn't work. But some people say, hey, why not give it a try? There's nothing to lose. You know, if we do something and you know, it stops someone from getting injured in a fight, or you know, some sort of hatred or whatever, you know, even if it's for a day, it's a good day. So, you know, I don't see anything wrong with it. We certainly we promote it. You know, so I like yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, I've seen on TV, you know, I know laws are always changing, but some police, you know, some police districts, they fund some of their funding through forfeiture, you know, from, you know, people, things being forfeited. Do we have anything like that? I mean,
Yeah. So there is forfeiture, and you know, so forfeiture back in the day used to be a lot different. Back in the day, someone had a little bit of narcotics, you could forfeit and almost everything. Now, that got out of control, and police took advantage of that. All right, and you know, it sounds weird for me saying that, but that's factual. And you know, the guy has a joint, you take his whole car, that's a problem, you know, but that's how it was. That's what the law allowed. Since then, the pendulum kind of swung the other way. And now you need, you know, you need a conviction for narcotics. There are some other things that you can forfeit on, like dumping. You could forfeit someone's car for dumping. You can forfeit someone's car for identity theft. You can forfeit someone's assets. I say cars, but usually that's a primary asset. It could be cash money, could be anything. For nuisance abatement, morality, so prostitution, things like that. These all allow, forfeiture consequences. But, you know, the police, it's a big responsibility. Gotta be careful. And, there's procedures. It's gotta go to the prosecutor's office and things like that. So one of the things is nuisance abatement. And why that's important for us is because we have some businesses in this town that are taking advantage of the situation, I'll say. They're taking advantage of the residents and, you know, they're selling narcotics out of them. They're conducting illegal, operations, and we've been shutting them down. We've been raiding them. The reason that this is good for us is because once we have so much police contact with them, we can deem them a nuisance abatement. At that point, we can get legal involved and the courts involved, and we can shut down those buildings, we can lock them, and we can actually forfeit them if it gets to that point. So, you know, the city could say, hey, this has been out of control, you know, you were stopped once for selling narcotics, you were stopped again. Now, you know, you're gonna lose your building. So these are things that communities are doing. These are things that we recently got active in, you know. No one wants to go after our businesses because they're tax revenue. But the reality is, if they're doing something wrong, we don't want them there. And so we get complaints about some businesses that think, you know, Highland Park is free for all, and we have to force them into compliance. And that's basically what we've done.
Could the same thing work with that drum center? That's a nuisance abatement. That's a nuisance. That drum center where they home the, you know, the,
So here's the problem with that. It's not illegal to be homeless,
No, I know that.
and it's not illegal to house the homeless. So we don't have a criminal aspect. We sometimes have individual criminality, but we don't really have a criminal aspect. It's very hard to go to a court and say, listen, we don't want this place here because he's housing the homeless and they're causing us problems. People are very sympathetic to that, as they should be. I think one of the ways we need to attack that is with programs and obviously police enforcement. You know, we have to enforce the individuals that are out there causing these problems. They're not all bad. No, they're really not. You know, there's a lot of guys that I've come in contact with that are well educated, you know, had good lives, and just one, you know, we're all one thing away from falling on our faces, right? We really are. You don't know what could happen, you know, whether it's financial, whether it's mental, whether it's whatever. None of us know how we're gonna react. Some people, you know, they were dealt a bad hand and they wound up in this situation. So it's just a difficult thing because I know it's a source of a lot of our runs, but these are people who are really struggling. There, you know, and there's some good apples in there and some bad apples.
You know, when you ask that question, people immediately give a response like you gave. It's not that people are uncaring.
Mhm.
I mean, I would like for my property value to go up too. I mean,
Sure.
so, you know, it's a catch-22. I mean, you know, I mean, because if you're trying to sell a house in the community and they drive out Woodward, you see all these men just hanging around, you know, just sitting around, sitting at the post office. That's a deterrent for them to buy a home here. That's a deterrent for a business to operate here.
Mhm.
So we have to come up with something, some type of medium, because the post office complains about them. I mean, we don't want to lose our post office. I mean, we don't want to lose, of course, I don't want my house to be worth the same what I bought it 24 years ago right now. I mean, you know, because a lot of times when you say assets, your home is usually the biggest asset a working person will invest their money in.
Mhm.
And a lot of people use that as a 401k. You expect your property value to go up.
Yeah.
To help supplement your, you know, supplement your income as you get older, you know. So, I mean, it's a whole lot of involved in just not caring about these people,
No, I know.
you know, so I'm just.
I know that. What I'm trying to explain to you is it's a difficult situation for the police department because when it's not illegal to beg, so people can, it's not, people can beg for money. There's been a Supreme Court case on that allows it. So really the only aspect we have to attack that is trespass. Now, the problem I have with trespassing is a lot of the businesses hire those people for very minimal money and have them sweeping and picking up the parking lot and cleaning or doing various jobs around their business. And then when they get sick of them, they wanna call us and say, hey, get them out of here. Well, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. That can't have your cake and eat it too. So our only attack on them is trespass. Now, here's the problem with trespass. We typically, so you know our procedure is, we get a complaint about someone, we call and say, hey, you gotta leave the property of trespass. At that point, that's an official notification. Okay, they leave the property, they come back to the property, then we can identify them out, give them a ticket, cite them, and typically release them again. Now, if they come back to the property again, they're arrested. Now, here's the problem. I arrest them, back to the jail. I house them to the next day or, you know, whatever. They go to the court, they get a personal bond, they're back out on the streets, and there's zero consequences. The only benefit to that process at that point was that individual got a free meal on the city island. It's a vicious cycle. It's one that we struggle with because that's a huge source of our problems. It's one that is going to take a partnership with the courts as well as the community, as well as the businesses. That's the only way that that is going to be combated. It's just not gonna happen with just us. It really isn't, because even the courts don't wanna deal with them, the jails don't wanna deal with them because they're uncollectible. And it's a sad part of society. What you see is, if I pull you over in your car and you have a job and you have all this stuff, I'm gonna write you a ticket. You're gonna pay your bill. You're gonna pay your ticket and you're gonna pay whatever fees associated. When I do, if I arrest this, he now becomes a burden to the system because now we're paying for that person. We're paying to house that person, we're paying to feed that person, doing all this stuff. There's no consequences for that individual, so they don't care. It's really, it's a tough thing for police departments, that struggle because there's not a lot of options. There really is. It's something that we're gonna do and we're gonna continue to do because we owe it to the citizens and we owe it to the businesses. But it's tough, man. The officers get very frustrated because it's a revolving door. And it's hard for me to tell an officer, hey, go deal with this guy again, and you bring it down and do, I'll get to you in 1 second. It's hard to tell the officers, hey, go deal with this person again, or go deal with that person again, when they know what the outcome most likely is. So, yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna ask, I know that Detroit have been dealing with some of the same issues. Have we reached out to them to find out what resources that they've used because they cleaned those areas up?
Yeah.
A big concern.
You know how they come up,
They moved them. They moved them here.
Exactly.
No, they did, honestly.
Because some of them who are affiliated with the same company that's running the one in Highland Park, he is doing something where they're not ordering outside of his establishments in Detroit. And so is it that what are they doing? That's all I'm saying, is that have we reached out to find out what are some of the things that they've used? Are there other resources that we could provide?
Yeah.
That they could provide, because they are a nonprofit. And so what type of programming can they do during the day that gives them something to do so that they're just not outside constantly doing whatever? So he opened up Highland Park just to say that this is a dumping ground. If that's the case, then that is an issue.
No, and in Dr. Audie's defense, and obviously he's not here to speak, but I have had a conversation with him. He offers these programs.
Yep.
Back in the day, they used to have to leave at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. they kicked everyone out and they were just on the streets. So we had a meeting with Dr. Audie. We said, listen, this is becoming a problem. We're getting a lot of complaints. There's a lot of people out, what can we do? So he's like, listen, I offer these programs. They're welcome to stay in the building all day long. They don't have to leave anymore. He's like, I'll allow them to stay. They have work programs, they have educational programs, they have all this stuff. Quite frankly, some of these people just don't take advantage of it. They don't want anything to do with it.
If they choose to stay there, is there something, just asking a question?
if they choose to stay there, obviously some things that they're doing, other places they're going inside or they're staying inside. So if the advantage is that I get to stay here, maybe you don't get, a ticket, or maybe you don't show up on the police radar or whatever about issues or concerns,
Mhm.
because it's a privilege to be here. And there's somebody, definitely, I'm sure, there's homeless people that are out there that, hey, we got a waiting list, we'll move on to the next person who's gonna abide by the rules and things like that.
Yeah, so some of these people are placed there. They're mandated to go there. Some of them, there's two parts to this. There's housing, that's kind of like halfway housing, and then there's shelter. And they have obviously different rules. If you're mandated to be in a halfway house, that's a court order required. So those people usually comply. Okay? However, on the downside of that, I don't know if you know, we had a homicide. The individual was caught, but they both lived in one of the shelters. And they feuded, and it got taken outside, and that's how it was resolved. So, that could happen anywhere. That could happen in an apartment complex. That could happen anywhere where they're cohabitating and you're fighting. The shelter rules are a little different. They don't really have any control over anyone in the shelter. It's more voluntary. And as some of us know, with narcotic users, they gotta want it. You can't make them do it. If they don't want it, it's just not gonna happen. And that's kind of the situation that he's in. The principle behind it is to do a good deed and help people out. And a handful of people do take advantage of that, and they lift themselves up and they become something. They live a normal life. There's a handful that don't, and those are the people. That's the 1 or 2% that we can consistently deal with. So, we can reach out, we can see, if there is something anyone else is doing different, but he owns a lot of those establishments in
That's why I'm
Detroit.
aware of it, because I know that they had a big problem when I was down, I used to teach at Ben Carson. And they would come as far as to our school, asking the kids for money or, messing with them. And they were always on the other side of Woodward, west side of Woodward. So there were things that they obviously did because they cleaned those things up. So I was just wondering if there were specific things that,
Yeah, a lot of it is, it's enforcement. Like here in the summer, we had some complaints that they were confronting the children, so we stepped up enforcement in that area. And it turned into a ghost town. You didn't see anyone, other than on the private, the businesses. And again, that's typically because they allow it. Whether it's, because they're patronizing the business, when they get some money, or whether it's, they're working there. You'd be surprised how many of the businesses complain, but at the same time are talking out of both sides of their mouth. Yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna say, during that meeting also that we had with Dr. Audie, the conversation was about, him being able to enforce what they do. So they have rights. They don't have to stay there. The only thing he has to do is do the overnight, although he did provide them with that, but he can't force them to. And so once they're out on the sidewalk and they're moving, we cannot tell them that they can't stand somewhere on the sidewalk. We can't tell them that they can't be up while moving, because if we try to do that, then we're violating their rights. As long as they're not, like now, if they come in to sit on your property, which has happened on Winona, I know it's happened before, and they out in front of your house and on your property, then yes, that's something different. But if they're consistently moving, or they're in the area where the shelter is, it's nothing we can basically do about it. Like the chief said, if there's no trespassing signs posted, then they're not trespassing. The building owners have to have those signs. I talked to the church because they're sitting on the church steps. And I did talk to the pastor, and I told him, I said, I know it's a church and want to be people to be able to come and go or whatever, but if it's a nuisance, then you have to post that sign. They have a child care center there too. So if you have that there, and you don't want them there, you have to post a sign that says no trespassing. Other than that, you're allowing them to come. And yes, I've talked to the post office many a days. The post office has tried to remove them. They do it in the day. You know, they come after 5, after the post office closed. And then they sit there and they order and they litter and well, it rise up and say you have to go. Can't sit it. Well, as soon as the police drive off, they come right back. So it's really hard. Now, what did happen is they did that. The grant was over. So Detroit offered them a grant again for a year during the NFL draft. So that they can come here. He opened up the shelter. I mean, he said he wasn't gonna do it anymore, but the grant is till December, so he did tell us that he's really trying to get out of the business of the homeless, not the people from the, transitioning. But the homeless part, he's trying to get out of the business of doing that. So we'll see what
So
happens.
maybe that's what they ended up.
It's
doing.
over
Maybe
in
it's
the-
not,
But a lot of those
a
people are
homeless, they
transitioning.
dealt with the transition.
Those are it's a
Because
lot
they
of
don't
there
have
that are
a place.
transitioning from prison to, a halfway house and things like that. So those people he's housing, I think he told us about 40 of them.
Yeah.
And then it was supposed to be 90 homeless, but if you really look, it's not that many there. Most of them are from the transitional state of Michigan, program. So we monitoring it and watching, and we do contact Dr. Audie, especially if something really, really, really is to the point where we have to say something to him. He has no control over what happened with the murder. It didn't happen in the building, it happened outside the building, even though they were arguing in the building. But I wanted to take just a moment because it's almost time to transition, and I know Lorna cut me off and say I talk too much. Just like Monroe said, I said he did, stop talking. I got 9 minutes before it go, because this has been something that some people have been asking about, and then we're gonna get these to the doors. I'm hoping to get a team of reserve officers and firefighters to go door to door and drop these off. But I'm gonna put these up here. These are the common cited codes used by the CD Department of Code Enforcement. People keep asking, well, when did that become? What is that about? Well, all of these laws have been in effect for a very long time. And so when they come to give you a ticket, and all of these mostly are about homeowners. So each block club president, if you can, please take one of these before you leave, and then try to get copies if you can. Help us out a little bit to get them to your neighbors and your doors, because people don't know. But this is the whole list, and it's 2 pages, back and forth, of common ordinance that people don't, like you can't barbecue on your porch. I mean, saying it. That's what first of all, the ghetto, I'm just being honest, and I'm sorry. I mean, if you don't have any other way, but or go on the side, because your house could catch on fire. You really can't. All it takes is one spark to catch you on something, and next thing you know, your house is going up in flames. And we know that, a lot of times, most of us can't afford the insurance on these properties. And so with that being said, we want to hold on to our properties, the older houses. And then there's one on here, people don't know, you're supposed to have a lid on your garbage can. I see it all the time, riding up and down the street, people put their garbage out, and it has no lid. I got people putting garbage in front of their house and just leave it there all week. That's where they come out and just drop the garbage in. Well, then they'll say, I got, not woodchucks, what are they? Groundhogs. The groundhogs are very bad right now in the city. And I got groundhogs, I got rodents, I got, all kind of stuff, possums, raccoons, because you're feeding them. They're literally eating, and not only are they eating the food, they're eating your garbage cans. So because they eat all my whole combined. But just a minute, he only gave me 9 minutes, let me finish. So you have to get those in the kind that I've been able to get is the ones where the lids actually attach and don't come off. Try it. I think at Walmart, they're like, I know it's $19 to get one. And then that, it might even be cheaper at Menards, because they're always a little bit cheaper. And that's where I had got mine before, it was $16. So try those and keep the tops on, you know, the garbage men, I know they was throwing them and then they come, your car, the thing fall, fly down the street in the big wind. I seen mine first time go out into Oakland. I had to go chase it. But, yeah, those are some of these, so please get these. And we're gonna try to make sure that we get them out to the door. I'm trying to do a blitz of getting them out. I'm trying to get them copied enough, but if you can help me out, if you are a block club president, I'll come around, I'll give you this. I try to get some and get them to your neighbors, okay?
I'll copy.
I know you got all them copies.
I'll make a bunch of copies.
Yeah.
Mayor, one time, when you go in the alley where I think, you didn't top the trees, you can't get me up the alley.
I'm looking to see if we can use stuff. We don't have this. And take,
Somebody must have heard you down.
that was that's the tree.
Oh,
That's the trimming. They are trimming the trees, but not cutting out all of them.
Okay, okay.
Oh, and how many minutes I got? Three more?
-4.
And so, when you get an opportunity in the back here, I just want to introduce you all to somebody. This, no, she's not here.
Oh.
I just want to introduce you guys to Tanya Myers Phillips. Oh, you guys, okay, I didn't know if she was going to visit today. Okay, cool, he's gonna handle that. I think I'm done, because he's gonna come and start talking.
I wouldn't do that.
Yes, you did, you told me that.
That's why code enforcement came up my house.
Roll it up on. Okay, and then I have a few up here in case somebody.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Is there anybody here from Farron Park first of all? Oh, okay, congratulations on you guys newly assembled block club.
It was a long time coming, but we did it.
What's your name?
Nikki,
Oh, we fake, you got two little girls.
yeah.
Oh, we don't fake. I can see the name, okay. Yeah. So right now, we're gonna give Miss Tanya Myers Phillips, we're gonna give her 3 minutes. To let us know what she's planning to do and what she represents.
Oh, very much. Let me bring my timer up here for 3 minutes. But I'm grateful. Thank you so very much. My name is Tanya Myers Phillips, and I'm running for state representative in our newly formed District 7, which includes the great city of Highland Park, Detroit, and Hamtramck. And first of all, in terms of sharing a little bit about me, I stand in solidarity with you as a block club president. So I know that special calling to be a block club president. You are kind of the eyes and the ears and the unofficial person to represent everything and try and fix everything and get an answer to everything. But we need that because I believe truly we have the answers and the wisdom in our community amongst ourselves. So I'm a fellow block club president along with you. I am also not very far. I'm a Detroit resident, but I'm Detroit on the border, so I am close and accessible. My husband here is passing out one of my ticker cards. I'm an attorney, a graduate of the University of Michigan and the University of Michigan Law School. And I don't want to go to Lansing just to, have a good time and socialize or any of that stuff. I've dedicated my career over the past 20 years, my legal career, to public service. If there was one thing I had to say, why am I doing this? Fighting for us. I want to go to Lansing and represent the common needs of our community as cities that are majority composed of majority people of color, that are working class, that are, unfortunately, there are some laws and systems and policies in place that don't work for our benefit, don't work towards our benefit. So my job and my duty as a state representative is to go to Lansing and advocate for laws that look out for us, that protect our best interests. Things such as affordable options for if you want to be a homeowner, affordable home ownership opportunities, affordable rental opportunities. For those of us who live in these beautiful old historic homes, I'm one of those too. Home repair opportunities. There's never enough money in the state budget for those type of things. So I advocate for this. As city people, we live in the shadow of industry. The quality of our air is getting worse. We're experiencing asthma, respiratory illnesses, shorter lifespans because of the pollution in the air. So we need polluter pay legislation to make these companies hit it where it hurts, to make sure that our lives are not suffering. And strengthening our basic quality of life, strengthening our social safety net. We need affordable childcare. I'm a working mom, okay? It's a pleasure, but it's hard. And we need to incentivize, that's my time. We need to incentivize making it childcare more affordable, education opportunities affordable for our babies and our youth coming right behind us. So I want to be respectful of time because I'm thankful that you've allowed me to come into the stage. I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. I will fight for us collectively, and I'm going to be around for questions. It's good to see you again. If you have questions afterwards, I'm in no hurry. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you. I have a question.
A question?
Yeah, after,
At this time, we have someone from the Joe Louis Greenway to speak to us. I know a lot of us have heard about the Greenway, but you hear about it and then it goes so long that it's absent and you don't hear any more about it, but we have a representative that's gonna tell us how it's gonna help Highland Park or what it's gonna do here in Highland Park also. Thank you.
I am so sorry to not have my video, so I don't have my lovely assistant here. Just so we can do that. So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me into your space to talk to you a little bit about the Joe Louis Greenway, and I'll talk a little bit about the Joe Louis Greenway Partnership, my organization. My name is Liana Medley. I'm the executive director of the Joe Louis Greenway Partnership. The partnership is a nonprofit that was formed in 2022 to support the Joe Louis Greenway. Our focus is really on inclusive development of the project, community engagement, really supporting the beautification along the entirety of the trail. We are a private nonprofit, meaning we are the partner to the public entity. So we are not the city of Detroit, we're not government. We are a nonprofit that was formed to support the residents along the path. That allows us a lot more flexibility to come into Highland Park and work with Hamtramck, as opposed to being the city of Detroit, where they really have to focus on the city of Detroit. So again, we were formed in 2022. We focus on the programming of the JLG. We're doing programming right now on the segments that are constructed, which is the Warren Trailhead, the ongoing beautification, and the ongoing engagement around the JLG project. Has anybody seen the path or know where the path is in relation to where we are? Yeah, wonderful. So that's so the Joe Louis Greenway is a 30-mile recreational path. The Greenway was made possible because the city of Detroit was able to acquire federal funds to purchase around 8 miles of old rail line. And that 8 miles of rail line really determined the path for the JLG. So oftentimes people say, what determined the path? Purchasing the rail line. So we know in much of our city in Highland Park, here in Detroit, we were industrialized cities, and the rails carried automotive parts and all those things, heavy industry. When much of the neighborhoods, the rail lines are abandoned and have been not used for decades. And when you think about those abandoned rail lines, there is the years and decades of contamination of whatever was in those rails that were driving in our neighborhoods. behind our houses, next to our schools. The land around the rail line, a lot of dumping, a lot of environmental contamination over decades. So the city of Detroit's ability to take these federal funds and some of these state funds, to purchase this rail line, and also looking at existing trails to determine how can we take the DeQuinder Cut and the riverfront on the south and connect it to as many communities as possible. So in the city of Detroit, there are 23 neighborhoods, but that wasn't enough. So how can we then connect it to Highland Park right here, and how can we connect it to Hamtramck? And now there's gonna be even deeper connection into Dearborn. So just so you all know, the Joe Louis Greenway is the largest public safety project happening in our state. So it's being led by the city of Detroit in partnership with these other other three cities, of which Highland Park has been a partner. So here is just some images of, you have the Southwest Greenway, which opens downtown, which is another artery, the DeQuinder Cut, the Warren Gateway, if you haven't been over there, is Warren, west of Livernois and east of Londo. So it is a 4-acre, $6 million park that was newly built. This picture is really old. If you have not been there, it's one of the most beautiful parks in the neighborhood in our area. And it's drawn in people from all over. And then this picture, you'll be able to see this. This is what the 2-lane path looks like in some of the areas. And so through the community engagement that the city of Detroit did, it was discussed, what are some of the goals that we have for this project? And many of the residents really wanted to address the environment. They wanted to address reconnected communities, the rail line disconnected neighborhoods. So oftentimes in many of the neighborhoods, if you lived on one side of the train track, that was your neighborhood over there. If you lived on the other side, that was your neighborhood over there. Didn't cross over. So how can we reconnect these communities? So when you look, we created some pathways to begin to open up those neighborhoods. The level of environmental contamination in these neighborhoods was pretty bad. The first mile of this greenway that was started, where the construction started on Warren, from Warren to Joy Road, is about a mile. They cleaned out in the first probably half a mile, around 16,000 dump tires. You know, 16,000 dump tires, when you look at it, is in the backyard of many of these residents. Similar to what's happened here as they went through in Highland Park. So many of you probably know, starting around Hamilton, we had a ribbon cutting or groundbreaking at the Chair's Coffee last year, and they began the debris removal and cleaning out that area. So not only is it the dump tires, right? It is the soil and the remediation of any contamination of the soil. So the city of Detroit has worked with Wayne County, worked with the Fed to take all of that contaminated soil and remove it and replace it with clean new soil in the area. And some of the contamination in some of these areas, which we have no idea about, it's just where we live every day, and this is the old rail line, I think that we would not want to live with. And so she was just talking about the environment. These are very, very important things. And so when we think about projects like a greenway, just cleaning up the soil behind our houses where children play, where you might want to walk your dog, whatever you might want to do in that space has a positive health benefit in and of it by itself. In addition to planting more trees, more natural plantings to try to improve the air quality in our neighborhood. So when we think about Highland Park last year, we partnered with a local organization and we did a slow roll. And the slow roll was really to get, and Mayor McDonald here, we got out and we rode our bikes and we just toured the path of the Greenway in Highland Park from Hamilton all the way down to Oakland. And you were able to see, although you couldn't get on the Greenway right then because it's not finished, you would see where it's going. And the one thing I tell people every time I do this tour, I just did one yesterday. I jumped for shot. Now he's up here and I'll be around after. What I could tell Highland Park residents is that this is a wonderful time to get involved and be aware of the project, to understand what greenways can mean, understand what are a lot of the positive impacts of greenways, and how do we mitigate any negative impacts of these projects? How do we make sure Highland Park residents are included and are able to participate and any and all the economic development opportunities that's there. And I can tell you that your city government has really been at the table. I had a conversation with your economic development team, and we're really trying to talk about how do we bring Highland Park businesses along and residents along. It's important to also note that the Greenway crosses over Woodward at the bridge. That is one of the most beautiful locations in the entire Greenway. That is where, when it is fully developed, where the majority of people who have the opportunity to come in and spend their money in your city will know that that's about the Joe Louis Greenway. There is really no other, even the trailhead, most people drive past it and don't recognize it. And so Highland Park has a really amazing opportunity to capture folks coming in, to really talk about the beautiful community, the neighborhoods that you have by way of the Joe Louis Greenway. And we want to make sure that as your neighborhoods grow as a relation of this project, their residents are able to stay and remain, and then be able to add new residents who add value and who are supportive of the value and the culture of your community. So what we are here to do is be a programming partner for the Greenway. So what does that mean? We're looking at opportunities to do pop-ups and small business activation. What do events and things look like on the Greenway? And we will want to work with Highland Park City government, your businesses, your entrepreneurs, right? People who might, sell lemonade, right? How do we figure to get you all of the correct certifications, whatever licenses you need to have to be a vendor to pop up and to work with us. We'll work with City of Detroit government, we'll work with Highland Park government to make it happen. But those are our plans for the Greenway. How do we bring partnership with senior activities, walking events, youth events? Right now at the trailhead, we have a youth summer camp that's happening, and we cover the cost of that. So we go out as a nonprofit and we fundraise so that we can make sure that the things that we do on the Greenway are either no cost or low cost. And in all cases, we try to make them no cost and free for families. So I'll stop there, and if you have any questions, I'll take any questions. I'll also be around after.
Quick question. Do you all also assist in getting additional funding if there are certain projects that we think of that would be close to that Greenway that could help, if it's like the federal or state?
So we are here to be an advocate for you and a resource for you to help maybe navigate you in that direction. There's definitely opportunity in what we've been able to do just because I've been in this community development ecosystem for so long. It could just be making introductions, helping you to brainstorm around where you could go to get access to capital for projects that you want to do that are adjacent to the Greenway and things like that. As far as activating the Greenway, it'll be the partnership in collaboration with the City of Detroit and the City of Highland Park, and then Hamtramck. But we're here to be your partner. So if you have an idea about a thing, if there is a place or a person or a group that I know that I can connect you with, you can access me, and I'll do anything I can do to help you. Whether it's small business resources, whether it is funding resources, there are a slew of them, and we're here to be a partner and an advocate for you.
You have a business?
A good question. And yes, I do. I think so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out to today's evening Block Club meeting. We're not gonna be here very long tonight. We have a short meeting as far as Block Club activity. But what we would like to do is we want to have a citywide cleanup where each block club participates. So we want you from 5 to 80, 5 to 90 years old if we can. Everyone to clean up. We just want to help beautify our city. And we would like to have it sometime in September. So there's gonna be follow-up more about when we're gonna have a cleanup, but to let everyone know, I'd like to remind people, we meet here at this police station on the 4th Wednesday of each month. 4th Wednesday of each month. And at this time, we already welcome Farron Parks Block Club. Is anyone visiting for the first time to this Block Club meeting? Could you stand up and introduce yourself?
Sure.
Opening up the church.
My name is Pat Hawkins. I live on East Strand and I'm part of the East Strand Block.
Welcome.
I've been to meetings before.
I haven't seen you.
What's that? Okay, I'm Nikki Cradle, we're on Sharon Park, before that we were on Ferris. We love our community so much, so we bought our house in 2019 to stay here.
Thank you. I've been before.
But thank you, everyone. We want you to,
She
was.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ms. Hill.
so my name is Akilah Hill. And as I've discussed with Lauren, I'm not really sure who our black folks is showing for me. I'm gonna take care of that, because, you know, they just keep asking me about it, but I've enjoyed this, this has been very informative. So I'm just glad to know that this is here. Yes.
A block of you all.
Another one, Candler. Which block club is that?
You guys are on to North.
Oh, North Point.
North Point.
Yeah, they just started too, what, about 2 months ago?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they meet at Bishop,
Bettis.
So Harvest.
So Harvest Ministries, that's not the name of it anymore.
Oh,
They
it's
changed their
something.
names, but it is right there at that,
Yeah, but they still have it out there on the marquee, so.
yeah.
That's
So
what
they,
we-
so they meet at the one right on the corner of,
Yeah,
Church and Woodward. They meet in that little building. Yeah, and I think they meet on Tuesday.
We meet Tuesdays and they meet some Saturdays.
Yeah, and Pastor Brenda is the president.
well, see, I have no excuse then, you know. Okay, and what time? You said,
I don't know, I can connect you with people and then.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. You're always welcome to come to the citywide block club.
Oh, okay.
You know, with the cleanup, we're gonna ask the city if they would donate garbage bags to help with the cleanup. I'm gonna probably put you on the
Ain't got no
spot.
money for that. No, I'm gonna get somebody else to do, we might have to get some donations, but I can tell you, we don't have no money for
she
that.
got her hand?
We'll donate.
What?
What she got?
See, somebody.
I told you, I'm gonna ask somebody else to go.
That was quick. One of them asked the guy at Glory, the owner, whatever his name
I'm
is.
saying we could get some, get some,
Please.
different, nonprofits. I'm gonna call Wayne County and see if we can get some dumpsters, if they'll give us some dumpsters. It's not guaranteed, but I'm gonna definitely put in the application, it's an application form we have to put in. And then check with your, city council people, they see, the money just started in July. So they should still have some money left, they get $5,000 a year. For such purposes as helping with cleanups, which Miss Manica, she usually gets, I think she might have, I don't know if she used hers yet. Just started. Well, it just started, so she has not, she just got her new money. She's pretty good at providing back, dumpsters for the first district. I see they provided, Councilman Ashafi provided a dumpster for MLK Park. They just had a cleanup, just this past Saturday. So get with your council person to ask them to, can they help with the cleanup? It's providing some stuff for it.
Thank you, ma'am. I was just saying, thank you, Madam Mayor. Go ahead.
Citywide cleanup, if we like are participating and we have certain things that need to be picked up, like there's a particular tree that I'm thinking of right now, it be cut up and then like somebody come pick up, we have a certain spot set up.
If it's a tree that don't belong to the city, we can't pick it. If it's not a city tree that it came down and it's on the ground, we can't pick it up.
No, I'm saying I'm part of the city. I'm asking if we were to break this stuff down. You know, put it in a location where it could be picked up.
Only place you would be able to dump it probably is in those dumpsters, and you would have to try to get someone to get it up. That's there, like.
It sounds like it's very, too, it's like a big tree.
Well, yeah, so. I had some, but I'm impression that if we let people even know that we had something to get picked up, that we broke it down and put it in a particular place, they would be willing to put it up. I'm just asking, since it's a citywide cleanup, will we be trying to do that for that particular day so that if everybody is participating?
The problem is they don't work on weekends. And so if I was to, I can ask them to volunteer to help, but I can't mandate that they do because they don't get overtime.
I think she was talking about staging it somewhere, and then they would come back, because I know the city did that in the past.
Because I've seen, last summer, they even told us that if you put it in a certain place, so I was wondering for that particular day that we're talking about. If they would come back on Monday.
Let me talk to Carla, because we have to have the dumpsters over at DPW. Because they might be full, and if they're full, we don't have anywhere to put it. But if it's not full, and we can get, because you can only put certain things in there too, because priority only comes to get it.
Right.
So I have to ask, is that something that we can put in there? And if we have other dumpsters in the area, like I said, I'm gonna try to get, if I have a date, I can go ahead and fill out the application. Because with Wayne County, you have to fill out an application for those. And if I can get a date and get it in on time, they can get us the dumpsters, and then those will be picked back up by the company that gets the dumpsters.
So by our next month, or as soon as possible, can you get the mayor a date?
Yeah.
So we can get.
Yeah,
them
it's like, it has to be at least a month in advance.
Right,
They're
that's what
not
I'm
gonna-
saying. So if you get her a date within the next week or so, she can put those applications in. We might get 3 or 4 dumpsters from the county.
Yeah, I was trying to do a.
Yeah, we had a Wayne
citywide
County
thing.
commissioner who lives here in Highland Park too.
Yeah, but I still have to put in a request.
Where's Martin Luther King Park? So-
Lincoln and Richmond.
Did a lot.
Yeah.
They I went over there late, but I did get slipped up that. But
Yeah.
it's,
This side.
probably the
it's close to
concrete
the
part.
lodge, right in there, back up in there.
Oh, and the other side,
Cross Hamilton, I was between Lincoln and, it's between Lincoln and Hamilton. No, it's between Lincoln and the lodge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But.
So,
This side.
like I said,
she
y'all,
gonna be divided.
we meet the fourth Wednesday of each
She gonna
month.
be
and,
divided.
I would like everyone to bring someone with them at the next meeting. We want this place filled. Even if it means the chief gotta bring more snacks. We want this- More than one employee. But, there's gonna be definitely news to follow as far as the citywide cleanup. And, Ms. Phillips, I like to say, I'm also part of the school board here in Highland Park, and when I see someone like yourself, I try to get a commitment from that person to speak to our children on career day. Would you be willing to do something? I mean, hopefully you win your election, but even if you don't, we would welcome you back to please come talk to our kids. So we like for our kids to see, people other than basketball players.
Right.
And professional athletes and entertainers. We want them to see lawyers, doctors. We want them to see engineers, we want them to see skilled trade workers. So just expose them to different things, so their minds can, think about other things than a basketball player or football player or something like that. So we more than likely welcome you, and if you have a card, I'll take your card and I'll let you know what career it is.
Absolutely, it would be my joy and my pleasure. After investing our youth, so absolutely.
Okay, thank you. At this time, like I say, there's gonna be more information following about the citywide cleanup. And we're hoping to have a great turnout and, especially Woodward. We want our Woodward is like our house. When people drive down Woodward, they're looking at Highland Park. That's a main drag strip. I mean, people in California know Woodward Avenue. So we want it clean. I mean, we want it clean. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, while Madam Mayor is still here, what are they doing to clean up what we're at, those grocery stores? So it's like, it's a mess.
So let me tell you what I just found out from the state of Michigan. So Miss Tisha, who owns the Cake and Shake, she tried to beautify outside. Got her flower pots and her flower pots. Well, she she got told by the state of Michigan that she cannot have that table out there and she cannot have those pots sitting there
What?
because they own from door to door across the street. So since they own door to door, which is the sidewalks from the up to the thing, I am having the DPW reach out to them. Cause they need to clean Woodward.
Yeah.
And it's not our, that's your responsibility as MDOT owns Woodward Avenue. So they say they own the sidewalk too.
That's why we came.
So they need to come out and start sending people to, cause I have my staff. They're going up and down and pulling garbage and, we put those cans out there, thanks to Miss Manica. Bought those cans and put them out all the way up and down, all the way to 6 Mile. For us to kind of keep the city looking cleaner, but they don't come out, they don't spray their weeds, they don't dig up anything, they don't fix anything. But since they're telling her she can't beautify, what she was trying to beautify her outside. So now I have to have a conversation with them about whose responsibility is it to clean up, because we were doing that. Last year, went out, we cut, try to get them out, all that kind of stuff, keeping the weeds down. But if they're gonna be telling people that they need to clean up or keep their, which is an ordinance, they do have to keep their storefront, but now you're telling her she can't sit her pots out there on the storefront that she's cleaning and keeping cleaned up, then you need to take care of the responsibility. So it's like I had to reach out to Department of Transportation because they didn't want to come and take care of lights. I'm gonna reach out to the state of Michigan and find out, MDOT, I think it is again, well, who takes care of Woodward? And how
Does it say
who's
it like-
cleaning that? If it's an ordinance that they have to clean in front of their stores and stuff, then I don't know why you bother.
Yeah, cause it's amazing, before you get to 6 Mile, it's clean.
Mhm.
After you pass, what is that,
Tennyson.
Tennyson, going into, it's clean. It's us in this between 6 Mile and what is the street? Is it Tennyson?
Tennyson and Tuxedos. That's the inside part.
It's a mess. So once you pass there, it's clean.
So I'm gonna find out, is that a law that says that we have to take care of that? And if it is, then that's what we take care of, like we've been taking care of it. But if it's not, then they're supposed to be taking care of it, so I'm gonna reach out to them and say, you don't want citizens, you don't want them to beautify, you told them they can't have stuff sitting out here, so now you come and take care of your property. And I can be honest with you, I think the issues lie with stormwater runoff. And everything started with Woodward.
Right.
After they had to start paying their stormwater. So I don't know. I'll check it out. That's my theory. That's my opinion. But I am gonna call them and find out, who's supposed to clean this up.
I get tired of cleaning every time I forward.
I have a person that comes all the way down from Second, all the way from Pasadena, all the way to Victor. She cleans all the way up, all around the Pasadena store. She cleans up both sides. And she does it every other day, taking up, so, and she's been taking care of that. But to tell somebody that they can't beautify the front of their storefront. I understand about liabilities and tripping and maybe the table, okay, I get that. But it was up against the door, but they said they own from door to door, so on one side of the street to the other.
Okay, we also have another question.
I just, came off of Expressway, looking at the new, well, I should say nothing new. DTE redid their, greenery, if you will, outside, it would be, what's the exit? I can't remember the blank. Go into like Midtown from there, and it's right before, it's right along the, Lodge Expressway.
Downtown.
No, not all the way downtown.
Midtown, you got Warren exit, and then.
Up
The power
above.
surge.
Oh, you talking about downtown? That's not Midtown, you're talking about downtown.
It's a little bit further,
DTE is
going towards Wednesday. My
Back-
point is
back
that
in.
we had said something to, or asked about DTE coming in, redoing the greenery or doing something with the front of the area right there between Richmond and Portland on Woodward. And it seems that they got money to do something, because they even put more flowers, plants and all types of stuff out there at this particular location, where's their power plant. And so I was wondering, do we have a contact person?
Yeah, that's the person that gets your lights back on every time I go and holler. I'll call her.
Yeah, to see if we could get something like that done, because when they first put that up there, they did do something nice, it seemed, and then they just kind of let it go. And so now that they've done the painting of the murals and things like that, it would be nice if they could kind of, you know, spruce up a little bit in front of themselves.
Yeah, they own the property across the street from to the old Ferris building, and they don't cut that down, so I've already called her about that. They're supposed to be building something there.
They don't cut any of that.
So they're gonna extend their front plant over to the other side or something, they're gonna be building in that lot, they own that lot. So I will reach out to them, put that down, DTE and MDOT, I will reach out to them, Friday. Cause tomorrow I got a deadline for campaign finance, and you don't mess with it. I gotta get my stuff.
I just so happened to see it, and it looked like they put more plants, at the first I wasn't noticing it, but I just drove past it. It was
Well,
like,
they always, cause you're right there by the MGM, and you
it's
get,
not that far down, but it's that. I'm mad, I cannot think of the exit.
let's back
that Warren exit.
It's not one by one, but it's back, well, after
You go past Warren to get to it, but I.
it's backwards. So they're off of back.
Forest, yeah, Forest.
The substation.
Well, actually, it's Warren, and then you end
They
up
just
on Forest
added
when you
more.
come up, right? Okay, I will reach out to them.
Thank you. Anybody else have any more questions for the mayor or for the police chief? Lady
Warren, I have a question, so. We composed of block clubs, and so. As a group or individually, have any block clubs received any funding or grants? For beautification, because I know of instances in other communities that block clubs. That have formed nonprofits or whatever, have been eligible to receive money. For things like alley beautification for their neighborhoods. Is
They
anyone in
haven't-
Highland Park receiving funding outside the city for
They
these
haven't
projects?
gone there 501c3 yet, and
That's
they're supposed to be working on it for a year, but it hasn't happened.
But hasn't there, it's been individual block clubs.
But there's, the ones that I know that had, them, one is Tennyson, they had one, but I think it's this Mr. Humphrey moved to
He's
Texas,
left, yeah.
and they have not done.
Massachusetts has a 501c.
Yeah, McLean does too, don't they?
Massachusetts have one, I don't know if McLean have one or not,
I thought he did.
no, but I do know that it's a couple of block clubs that do.
We plan
But
on
it was
registering
supposed to be a
501c3.
United Block Club one formed.
No, that's a United Block Club.
So have you identified areas that you are going to focus on? It's one of the issues for Moss. Would be alley maintenance. So I don't know if you guys talked about that with the chief or not. Because one of his officers indicated that most alleys they can't even drive through. Most of the weeds are on the owner's fence line. Which means the owner is
It's
supposed to
responsible.
that's it up.
Right.
But they're not. And with 1,500 vacant lots, that just complicates the issue even more. With grant funding for alley beautification, you can look at transforming maybe some alleys into meeting places for the community. Maybe hiring a contractor with a chipper, because that's what really needs to happen. Need someone with chainsaws and chippers to remove the brush. And it's a huge undertaking, but I didn't know it had received funding or if he had formed a nonprofit for the alleys. I mean, not for the alleys, for the block clubs. And so for my, that's something that we would want to be a part of. But we would need to know what we intend to focus on as one block club. You know,
You're right.
as one unified club. What are your goals? What are your priorities?
My goal as a United Block Club Association, we were gonna focus on the main thoroughfares. Like Woodward, Hamilton, and some of the, the freeways, the side of freeway. I mean, I know what you're saying, but I think it's better for an individual block club to plan their own alley cleaning. I mean, because people, when you do it as a whole, as a, United Block, several block club, people gonna say, what about my alley? What about my alley? It's gonna go on and on like that until it gets to the point where we're arguing, we're not getting anything done. So we wanna focus on the main thoroughfares, which I said is, like, we're,
And so,
you know, cause I know the Moss has a block, I'm quite sure.
right, and so when we look at thoroughfares, then that begs the question, what's the business owner's responsibility?
See, the thing is, I mean, I know exactly, they should have some, but I'm not willing to wait on them to clean up anything. I mean, I'm tired of it looking that way, I think most citizens are tired of looking that way. Just do it ourselves, we do it. I mean, I think cleaning up is contagious, like if you're cutting your grass weekly, you're gonna see other people start cutting their grass. I mean, it's contagious, at least you hope it's contagious, but you know, I mean, if we wait on, you know, how, we wait on a business to clean up again. When is it gonna happen? You know,
Look, it's a priority though, I think. This one individual, and I'm sure the chief talked about it, has run amok in Highland Park in Detroit. And not only him, but this is a whole subculture of individuals utilizing our alleyways to just traverse it. I don't even know what they're doing. We're starting to see with images that people are posting. You know, people just randomly walking through alleys, looking into people's homes and their yards. Probably stashing things that they've taken, obviously some other concerns. That's a pretty pressing issue in terms of public safety. Again, especially when officers tells me, now they can get down our alley in Moss, but there are a lot of alleys they can't. And so at what point will that be an issue that's going to be addressed? And I don't mean to put that on the mayor and say, get your crews out and drive through the alley to cut all this down. That's not gonna happen. The block clubs have to make that happen.
So
That
my
has to
plan,
happen individually.
my plan, and I just spoke to this with DPW, is, you know, we don't have the equipment to do that. So we
Right.
have to lease the
Exactly.
equipment. So I have to look at the funding source, which would be out of Act 51's money, to see what the cost would be to lease the equipment like they did before. When they came down and they ran down and they ran everything over and got it and pushed it. The problem, again, is then when do you maintain?
Right.
And the again, by the next year, as it rains, and it grows back up, so it's up to the citizens, like you said, to take care of their yard, and yes, those things grow through your fence, and then they grow out into the alley as this. If it's attached to your fence, you're responsible. If it's growing up in the middle of the alley, which there is some things growing up in the middle of the alley. Yes, the city is responsible for that because it clogs up the drains and all of that. But even if we came through and push, we're not pushing stuff off of your yard. That's your responsibility. I go out there every year, which is about time I'm tearing down my garage, that's why I have to go again. And I cut down all the stuff off of my fence. The Connecticut alley is pretty clear. It's not as, it's clear, you can see all the way through it. But it's still, people have that stuff on their yard, that has to be cut down. And so the city is not responsible for that. So the problem we have again is if you are not maintaining your backyard, your gate, your garage right by there where it's growing up, it's gonna continue to grow. It's gonna continue to migrate out into the alley. And so then every year, that means we're gonna be spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars trying to maintain these alleys to cut down and rent equipment, which should not happen. So yes, I've already discussed that with our DPW. I'm waiting for Mr. Burgess to look and see how much it would cost to do that. And we're only gonna do the alleys we're not doing every alley because we can't afford that. But we're gonna try to get the worst ones down, because it is a problem when people are hiding back there or somebody's trying to break into your house and all that, even on the service drive, Pat, they're not cutting stuff off their garages. I see it, I rode by there. There's some people over there who has a lot of growth. And they think we're supposed to come and do that. No, that's your garage, that little space between the alley and your garage, that's your responsibility. There's a little space that goes right there that you're supposed to cut all that down. So I really want people to understand that, cause I get those calls all the time. Oh, the alley is overrun. I go back and look at the alley. Well, that's coming off your yard. It's coming off your fence, you know? And yes, the block, we have to have a focus. They've been trying to get together. I know they talked to Charlene Turner Johnson. She talked about the 501c3. It's something I think that you all should go forward and have agendas every week on what you're going to do, so that people will know, because I have got calls about that too. I'm just letting you know. It's like, there should be a set agenda to focus on every time you come. And that would be great, and then just to help, just people coming up. I was planning on having a citywide block club, citywide cleanup. I had thought about August 31st, but I forgot that's the weekend of Labor Day. And a lot of people would come, so it would probably be like 9th or whatever it is, that Saturday after Labor Day. Or something early, because after then I go right into domestic violence mode and stuff like that. And then we have to walk for the questions.
So Mayor, while you're planning, if you could consider a chipper as opposed to a front end loader. Cause you know, some of us, I have a chainsaw to cut down stuff, but it's just trying to get rid of these trees.
We have to consider what our funds will be able to allow us to.
Right, yeah,
And I hear you, chippers I'm not familiar with what a chipper is. I'm quite sure the chief. Is he okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
He's familiar with a lot of those
Premier-
equipments. I don't know.
Premier rents the chippers, they can take up to 24-inch branch. And that's what they have some with the grapple.
Yeah, I got cut down.
They still have some with the grapple that feed them. So. they still have to run from-
Not a, it's a small one. Not
Take
a
a lot of
large
effort.
one.
I'm sorry.
I have like a twofold question, maybe that. So, in the packet that you just gave us, because I'm gonna pass it out to my block.
Oh, the one I gave you?
Yes, is there an ordinance to keeping your?
Overgrowth. That's a ticket.
Okay.
It's a ticket. And if people don't know, that's why I want them to have this.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of overgrowth in the backyard, even in your own backyard. It's not supposed to be that high. And we're guilty of it in the city, because we have properties that they'll cut the front, but we can't cut the back because you can't get back there because you don't know what's going on. But the backyard of citizens, it's your responsibility to keep that down. You can get a ticket for that because it creates rodents. When they hide, my neighbor he don't talk to me right now, he just moved in, but he don't talk to me because he found out that you're not about to live next door with me with that girl in your backyard, because the raccoons was back there, and I told him. So he got a ticket. And yes, he only been there maybe 2-3 months, but now you know.
Right.
No, we're not doing this.
There's some people that don't care about timber.
The second part of my question, then I'll be done. So in our neighborhood, we have a lot of, natural people who like to grow all these bushes and they like to.
Natural people.
Yeah. Like they just gotta have all this stuff growing.
They call it rain gardens, rain gardens, and what it does.
It's not a rain garden, it's just.
That's what they're supposed to be, a rain garden.
It is not a rain garden, but so how do you handle that? Cause what I find myself doing, I pay my lawn guy when he come, everything on this side of the fence, cut it off. I don't care if it fall back over there, that's their tree, over here, cut it off.
If it's coming into it, I think you have a right to do it.
So again, that's why this document is going out to the neighborhoods, because people really don't know what the ordinances are. And then you'll tell them, oh, that's a ticket. I didn't know that. So if I educate you, and that's the key word, you have to educate people. That's a ticket. Now, will they pay it? Some of them don't even show up. They don't care. But at least they know they got one. And maybe after enough, they'll stop doing whatever it is they're doing. Because we do have a nuisance abatement law. At some point, after you keep going, hold on, I see your hand. At some point, it gets to a nuisance abatement, which goes to court. And it can turn into a misdemeanor, or it can turn into the fact that we might be able to do something to your house. Things like that. But it takes a minute to do that. People are like, well, when is it gonna happen? Well, you gotta go to court. And then they don't show up. So then you have to have a bench warrant against you because they didn't show up. And so it just goes on, but at some point it comes to it where, you know, we have to do something. One thing I can say about this is we're gonna crawl before we walk. And it's a lot that people don't know that because it's been neglected so long.
Yes, that's right.
And so at this point, it's my job to educate people, and that's why I'm trying to get this out. Share it with your neighbors, let them know, you see somebody, listen, here it is right here, number, such and such and such says. And they'll probably say, I don't care. Like people parking on their lawn. That's, you can't make a driveway on your grass. You know, and speaking of that, chief, that Tyler. Tyler and Third.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just decided they just gonna cover up, they have competing traffic on the sidewalks. I go by every day, it's about 10 cars, 5 on one side, 5 on the other.
Okay, Ms. Hill, we have one question before you.
I think, yeah, she was right here.
Okay, where I live, there's two vacant lots on one side and then about 6 on the other side. So the growth from the vacant lots are growing from my fence. So how do I handle that?
You said from the vacant lots.
Yeah.
If it's not like, you call the city and tell them, y'all need to come get that off my fence.
Okay, cause I've been doing it for years, going both sides.
Well, you can if you want to continue, but I'm saying, I'm not being funny, I mean, if you want to continue doing it, that's okay. But if you don't want to continue doing it, then it's the city lot,
Okay.
then they need to get it down.
Okay.
You know, I can tell Carla, look, she's been taking care of this, y'all need to make sure that they're weed whacking it or taking it off, like this.
Ms. Hill? Ms. Hill,
Oh,
you have the floor.
I did have a question with regard to parking on the lawn. Now, we own the lot that's next to us and we maintain it. But, you know, sometimes I like to park my car on that lot. Because, you know, there's another car in front of it and I don't want to get a ticket for blocking the sidewalk.
It's saying, but it's, can't start your car on the lot.
Even if you own the lot.
No, you're not supposed, if it's not a driveway there to park in, can't park, that's still parking on the grass. That's still parking. It's okay, but that's the law. It's I can't park my car on my grass, in front of my house, on the side of my house, and back of my house. No, that's an ordinance that's been on the books forever. You know, so you can turn it into a driveway, you can have it cemented off and make it.
One question.
I know, I'm not, I have to fix
I
mine.
already put one driveway in.
I'm sorry, that's the ordinance, it's been on the books forever.
At this time,
I don't have it.
At this time, we're gonna wrap up the meeting and like I said, it's gonna be news to follow about the cleanup. So definitely, like I said, 24th of August, please bring a friend with you, someone else. Not leave with their clothes. She came to the first one. Yeah, the meeting is adjourned.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, good.
It's not, they not doing it.
That's good.
I can't.
Yes.
Yeah, I put that one over at
But I'm kind of excited.
Oh. Yeah.
So we get it.
I'm a mind my, no, cause I'm a mind my business. I'm a mind my business. You know that ain't doing nothing.
Bro, you got me this spot. There.
I'm being correct.
Listen, dog.
I ain't gonna never get none there. What are you? I'm tired of and I'm guilty of something else crazy. Right. I did. There was a teacher in my.
Somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man.
We different kinds of this.
I'm a baby kid. But I can tell you, we got so much. Come on, anyway, jump tonight. Don't worry about it. I would say, you swear I'm not doing her. Somebody bringing it out. I got to take part.
But.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you need anything, let us know
Thank you.
over there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Fair
It's
park,
great.
pretty quiet though for the most part.
It's a quiet street. We had a lot of issues with Ferris, so like 4 times, like a guy, I didn't even know this was like morning, he was trying to get in our house like in the middle of the night. That was like 2018. But since moving to Fair Park, we haven't had any issues. Like
Yeah,
the keepers are really good. Everyone like looks out for each other.
yeah, it's good. Well, that's what it takes, really.
People like that.
Yeah, but if you need us, call us.
Thank
Okay,
you so
no
much.
problem. Can you